Well, Rockshawn going on. Endless football for Trinidad and Tobago, kind of, isn't it? We got, first of all, the Gold Cup coming up imminently. But then right after that, not too long after, we got World Cup qualifiers. And that's what we're going to focus on. Groups A, B, and C, the Concacaf qualifiers. And of course, I want to focus on my favorite team, Trinidad and Tobago. Let's take a look at these groups. Well, Group A, you got Panama, El Salvador, Guatemala, Suriname. Most people would favor Panama to top the group, with perhaps El Salvador and Guatemala to fill up the number two spot. Group B, our group, the one I'm interested in, Jamaica, Curacao, Trinidad and Tobago, and Bermuda. Most outsiders would go with Jamaica, with a toss-up between Curacao and Trinidad and Tobago. Curacao on paper has a lot more players in quality leagues than Trinidad does, but we'll get to that in a second. Then Group C, you got Costa Rica, Honduras, Haiti, and Nicaragua. Most people would go with Costa Rica and Honduras, and perhaps Haiti is a dark horse, maybe Nicaragua, but Costa Rica, Honduras. But right now, let's focus on the group we want to talk about. For time configurations, we'll only look at Group B right now, with Jamaica, Curacao, Trinidad, and Bermuda. Yes, Jamaicans are the favorite in this group, but let's see what can happen, shall we? Let's talk about that. Okay, so let's talk about our group. Group B, it's Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Bermuda, and Curacao. Now, of course, most people will think Jamaica would win it, depending on the quality of the players. One can understand why people would think that. But all is not as it appears. They also would probably might pick Trinidad and Tobago as the outsider for second spot, and tough luck for the others. This is not necessarily the case. Let's talk about Jamaica. Let's talk about Curacao. And let's look at the schedule. I want to focus on Curacao and then focus on Jamaica and Bermuda another day because of time schedule. Logically, Jamaica should win this group. The quality of players is fantastic. But, Jamaica has had a habit of in World Cup qualifiers imploding. This is a grand opportunity for everybody, including Jamaica, because it's a much, much easier group. But let's look at the last year. Okay, Jamaica qualified for this final stage, but what in qualifiers, what has Jamaica done? They beat Guatemala in Guatemala and Nicaragua in Nicaragua. Impressive results. But at home, they struggled to a 0-0 draw with Cuba. Away from home, they beat narrowly Dominica, who didn't do much other than score two spectacular goals. They beat them 3-2. Okay, away from home, they beat um, British Virgin Islands 1-0. British Virgin Islands has 5th, 6th, and 7th tier players from England. There was a time British Virgin Islands used to get top up 10, 11, 12, 0. Something has happened. In St. Vincent, they drew 1-all. They beat St. Vincent handily in Kingston 3-0. And they beat Guatemala handily in Kingston, I believe 3-0 as well. But what we have seen is that they have problems at times. I mean, 1-all draw in St. Vincent, 3-2 victory over Dominica, 0-0 draw at Kingston. All of a sudden, that Trinidad's victory is looking a lot better, aren't they? This is a quality side that can play quality football, but at times they let themselves down. Only the Jamaicans can explain this. So that's something we have going for us as Trinidad and Tobago. Now let's talk about Curacao. On paper, the Curacao players, most of them the Dutchmen, play in much better leagues in general than the Trinidad and Tobago players. Yes, we have a few people in Europe. Yes, we have some in the MLS and second and third tier of football of the United States and Central America here and there. And of course, we got our boy Levi Garcia in Russia. A quick look at Curacao shows that they have 11 players playing in the Netherlands first or second division. Their goalkeeper, I can't read my writing, boy. Let me check this thing, boy. Eloy Russo. Well, I can't even read my writing. Anyway, their goalkeeper, Eloy Russo, plays for Cercle Bruges in Belgium. Pardon my pronunciation. This is a Belgian first division club. Okay, the number 2 and 3 goalkeepers play for the either in first division or second division in the Netherlands. So these are three goalkeepers playing a decent brand of football. One of their players, Comenesira, plays for the Juventus second 11. Okay, so already right off the bat, 11 players in the first and second division of the Netherlands. Okay, so on paper they have on quality players. Their coach Dick Advocaat, well, I think we all know that name in international coaching, don't we? Just off a quick rundown of countries, not even all. At national level, he's coached the Netherlands twice. He's coached the national teams of South Korea, Belgium, Russia, Serbia, and just before Curacao, he was coaching Iraq. Reasonably old fellow. He's about 78 or yet odd years of age, but I suppose he could coach, or they wouldn't give him the job. At club level, he has coached the likes of Fenerbahce, PSV, Rangers, Sunderland, Feyenoord, and a couple of the top Dutch clubs. So his resume is pretty spectacular. So we cannot take Curacao lightly. If you look at their last CF competition, it's nothing demanding. They played mediocre opposition here in the Caribbean, and most of the victories have been narrow. Against St. Lucia, they lost in St. Lucia 2-1, but beat them outside of St. Lucia. Competitive football, mind you. Against Grenada, they drew in Grenada 0-0, but beat Grenada at home in Curacao or Aruba 1-0. Um, they've had their problems. They've beaten teams like Barbados and so on, Aruba, but they the margin of victory was usually narrow. And as I said, you could say, well, okay, they drew with Grenada and beat them 1-0. But what happened with Trinidad when we played Grenada at our home base, right? We had our problems. The truth is, a lot of these countries in the Caribbean, they may not be great, but they have raised the bar. And they're not always going to be walkover teams. They come to play. Look at Jamaica struggling to a 3-2 victory over Dominica, a 1-0 victory over the British Virgin Islands. So Curacao can only play the people in front of them, and they won. Their most impressive victory was the game I thought would be their toughest against Haiti. In Aruba, they beat Haiti 5-1. That game was really 2-1 for about the first 65 minutes, and then for the last 21 minutes and plus injury time, um, the Dutchmen scored three more goals and won 5-1. Now, this was a tournament, pre-qualifying tournament for the final round where you play four teams. You play two games at home, you play two games abroad. There's not a home and away for everybody. Probably time configurations, just like we did in our group. So they played the Haitians in Aruba. I would have been very curious to see what would have happened to Curacao in Haiti. That would have been a much better test, I think. But as we saw away from home, what did they do? They drew with Grenada. I believe it was Concacaf nation. No, it was Concacaf nations. And against St. Lucia, again in competitive football, they lost 2-1. So you have to forgive me, I've got my competitions wrong, but I'm mixing up maybe perhaps Gold Cup qualifiers and World Cup qualifiers. But my point being, in competitive football, in Grenada they drew against St. Lucia, they lost 2-1. So probably against Haiti they would have struggled a bit in Haiti. But looking down at, at these players on paper, you can't turn down your nose at Curacao. Um, so there's a chance for Curacao to get on, but this is our best chance ever to qualify for a World Cup. We're looking more or less at a guaranteed second spot, and basically we could fight up a first spot with Jamaica. Jamaica is not impregnable. My philosophy is this: if you can't beat Bermuda and you can't beat Curacao, why are you even thinking of going to a World Cup? So the key, I believe, is for Trinidad and Tobago to just beat up badly Bermuda and Curacao. That's four games. We beat them at home, we beat them away from home. That's 12 points. And what happens with the Jamaicans happens. If we could even get a point, we're probably guaranteed second spot for sure. And why get at that point? Why only think of a point? Try to get some points in Jamaica. Try to get some points in Trinidad, and we've got a 50-50 shot at winning this group. But we have got to overwhelm the Dutchmen and the Bermudans. As you can see, Friday, September 5th, we start off with host Curacao. Then we go away to Jamaica 3 days later on the 8th. Then on October 10th, we host Bermuda, and then we go away to Curacao. This is the key right here. One, two, three, these four matches between September and October. Against Curacao and Bermuda, we simply put, we have to win. Win everything. That's three matches, 9 points. Then what happens in Jamaica happens. Then our final two matches are at home. This is November, and we're on November 14th and 17th, respectively. We're going to host Jamaica and Bermuda. Now, if we can win our three previous matches against Curacao and Bermuda, that's 9 points. And all we have to do is beat the Bermudans, that's 12, and hopefully get a result against the Jamaicans at home and abroad, even if it's 1 point each, even if it's just 1 point. We can do this. This is very, very doable. Simply put, beat the Bermudans and the Dutchmen. That's 12 points in the bag, and try to get one or even all points against Jamaica. As we have seen, Jamaica is not impregnable at home and abroad. So there you have it. It's going to be an interesting time for TNT football in the next few months. Obviously, the Gold Cup is a rehearsal dressing or whatever you want to call it, dress rehearsal. I'm tired. 2 o'clock in the morning here, or 2:20. Um, Dress rehearsal for the actual World Cup qualifiers. Matters not to me if we do great or not. I'd like to do great, but it's about getting ready for the show that matters, the World Cup qualifiers. Good competition. Dwight is obviously gonna suss out some players. Maybe Mark has no new faces. We already know who's coming. But I'm really hoping Dwight can find two or three new players. Not just to beef up the midfield and the defense, but at least one more player, even a defender as well, who can bring some flair and innovation, and give the opposition a hard time. Um, So I'm hoping that we need to. This TNT team needs to improve its quality. It's a decent team, but it's not an amazing team. And Jovan Jones, Molino are good, but they're not the guys they were 5 years ago. That would have been amazing. Kadeen Highland is no longer there. We don't have a young Kadeen Highland anymore, do we? We've got a Levi Garcia. We don't have a Carlos Edwards. We don't have a Cornell Glenn. So we need to input more quality on every aspect. I think the only area in which we're super deep is goalkeepers. We have goalkeepers to throw away. Aaron Eller, in my opinion, is perhaps the best goalkeeper in Trinidad. He's not on the team. But back to the games at hand. We got to fill up the National Stadium, Heasley Crawford, and we got to jam them. We got to support. We got to go all guns because the Jamaicans will do it. The Bermudans will do it. We got to do it too. Just before I started making this video, I saw that the two big unions are asking to have a World Cup qualifier. I don't blame them. If I was a two big union, I would ask the same thing. But I got to tell you, every game must be played at the office. We must jam them with serious atmosphere. I'm sure the two big unions will do a great job, but this is just the way it's done. If you look at Mexico, when they have top games, everything is at the Azteca. Only when they think they have a soft team they could beat up, they will play outside the Azteca. If the winners want to get vexed, I don't blame them. If it was up to me, I would play every match at the Heasley Crawford and fill it up and jam it up and cause some serious ruction. Again, I'm sure the two beginners would do us a good job for support, but that's just my take on it. So I'm encouraging you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, let's get behind our Soca Warriors. I could barely speak. It's 2:30 in the morning. Sorry. Let's get behind our Soca Warriors. Let's jam them. Let's support them. This is our chance. This is our chance, our legitimate chance, the best chance in decades we might ever have to qualify for another World Cup. It can be done. If we get that second spot, we're still in it. And really, we have a 50-50 shot against Jamaica. We seriously do. I'd like to see two or three more new faces who can beef up the squad, add some value to the squad. I'm sure Dwight is doing his due diligence. See, your boy can't talk. Too tired. That's the problem when you're working and trying to make videos in your free time. For those of you who have supported these videos, thank you very much. Keep supporting. Watch my little book hunting, book ad at the end, and let's hope Dwight Yorke and the boys can do it. We can certainly do it. I will be, here in Canada supporting them to the hilt. So, as usual, God bless Dwight Yorke. God bless the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. God bless football. God bless me to get some damn sleep. Take care.